Hello and welcome to Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez. I am the author of How to Get Television News Coverage. It's easier than you might think. And if you're new to the show, what I do is I teach people and businesses how to get local, national, even international news coverage, as well as produce news stories specifically for social media. And today I actually want to talk about how easy it is to get news coverage. I know that's if you've ever tried and you did not get news coverage, I know that sounds like, oh no, I tried so many times and I didn't get news coverage. Generally speaking, it's not because your story wasn't newsworthy. It was more about the angle in which you were pitching the story. There are so many stories. In fact, I don't know a single industry that cannot generate news coverage. There is an angle or a client or what you champion as a business or an organization. There is always a story that impacts the community. And for news, what impacts the community the most is what they want to cover. Now, the big thing is the reason why you see stories about accidents or investigations, murder, politics, because those stories are easily accessible to the newsroom every day. But what's not easily accessible are the stories that come in the community, that come from you. They don't know when even like a local event, you might not think that, news is aware of it. Uh, they may not have had someone to go out and cover it, but they are interested in that story. I'll just take, even something that just happened. I was covering a news story, another story, I should say, um, and something else happened. There was, I was at the Lauderhill Chamber of Commerce, and I was there to cover Carter Bonus Day. You know, I know I talk about Carter. He is the now 11-year-old who started his own line of golf apparel. And the city of Lauderhill, he's autistic, and the city of Lauderhill decided to call it Carter Bonus Day in honor of Autism Awareness Month. But when we got there, what we found was a room full of firefighters and an incoming and outgoing fire chief. That story, there was no other particular media there for that story in particular. And so what did I do? It's not the story I went there to cover, but I had a camera. And so I started shooting the video of the incoming fire chief for Lauderhill, who, by the way, it was the first Latino fire chief there. So that's another element to the story, especially for our diverse community in South Florida. And here we had a story that may have been missed if I didn't send it off. So now I've sent that video, as a courtesy to, my fellow news colleagues who are looking for community stories and just didn't probably have someone to send it. It's not that that story wasn't important, but at the time they didn't have someone to send. And so uh, it got tabled. But if you were there, it didn't have to be me. It didn't have to be a news producer like myself. I'm a freelancer as well. You know that. And it didn't have to be me covering. It could have been you with your phone video. And you know what I tell you? If you're going to shoot video, hold your phones horizontally, you know. Where's my phone? Let me grab it so you can see it because I know sometimes, little things we get confused. Hold your phones horizontally when you're shooting. Because for television, when you hold your phones vertically and shoot video, you're going to see that black on both sides, and you just don't want that. And so I encourage you, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, is to shoot video. Now, simply put, one of the easiest ways to find news stories in an organization or a business, even, or a community, homeowners association, any of these networking groups and clubs, go to your success stories. Your success stories are the first place to look for news stories. And when you send that press release to the newsroom, don't send it saying, "Oh, look what we did for this person." Let that person send the press release and tell how great and what kind of service you gave them. It's that switch in perspective that makes it not a commercial, because you always hear me say, news is not your PR people, you know, they're not your PR organization. Even though you'll get PR from it, it's not their job to be your publicist. And so when you're doing what they're asking, their purpose is to reach that community, provide community stories, tell them what they need to know about what's going on. And they love human interest stories. They love stories that impact the community. And everyone has a news story. You just need to know which perspective to tell it. And so, what I do simply, in like my handbook, I made sure I brought it. I always have it on the other side of the room. How to get television news coverage. It's easier than you might think. If you go to my website, um, you'll be easily be able to find it. Actually, you know what? If you go to my website, Newsworthy Story, even though I'm Newsworthy Stories, but my website is newsworthystory.com. There, when you click on the icon that says buy the book, you can actually see inside the book before you buy it. And it gives you this tab, and you can read through the entire index, and you can kind of see which stories we're covering and why. It is a book that is designed to be read in 40 minutes tops, okay? Because it's a reference book. You read it and like say you're at the beginning and you don't know where do I look or what am I supposed to have in my story? Well, it tells you all the elements that every news story is looking for, every news producer is looking for in a story. And you use that same guide for your social media post because social media is your audience. Okay. You're just like television. Every time you post, you're posting to your audience, not to anybody, not to some magic people that, don't exist. You are posting to your audience, whether you're on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, any of them. That's your television audience. And you have to treat it that way because news knows how to engage with people on a regular basis. They do it every day and they're experts at it. So why not learn from the experts on how to engage your television audience? Because that's really how you need to think. Your stories are stories that they want. They can't reach them all the time. They don't always have a crew. So if you're at a ball game or a sporting event or any of that, if you're in the middle of a storm, you know, and there's this great video all around you, you're in your car, take out your phone and shoot the video. Send it to your local news station. I tell everyone who comes to my workshop that get the email of the assignment desks of the ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox affiliates, at least in your community, and have them on ready. Have those emails ready so when these things happen, you can shoot them a text or shoot them the video and say, hey, this is happening right now on such and such street. The what, where, when, why, that's what they need to know. Where is it located? What's happening? And before you know it, you're going to see a news story about what you shared on your local news. They want and need your local news stories. I would love to share how on my website again. If you go to my website, newsworthystory.com, you will see um, something called upcoming um, workshops. If you click on that little tab, it will take you to my Eventbrite pages. And so you'll be able to see um, all the upcoming workshops. I have one workshop in particular. Basically, I tell people it's the cost of the book. It's basically the cost of the book and a little more. It's literally $30 because I want you to come and learn how easy it is to get news coverage so that news will have a better balance. They really want more community stories, but it's the way that people are sending them or not sending them at all. And It is a leverage, a tool that is you would just benefit from. It's benefit after benefit after benefit. There's no bad way to receive news coverage. It's just a positive, um, unless, of course, you've done something wrong. Don't do that. Uh, I've been telling a lot of the other things that people do, and I'm just going to end on this mostly, is that they only send press releases about the event. I've been putting out this put this link out today, or it's like a testimonial, my own one, a testimonial from Dr. Elena Alexander, and she is with A to Z, not sorry, A Squared Pharmacy Solutions, and she's about to open up her own pharmacy. And I told her, I said, don't send a press release about opening day. I said, because everything is already done. I said, talk to them, uh, build that anticipation, that urgency, right? News does it every night. Breaking news, this is developing. Well, even something as simple as opening a pharmacy, you don't want to invite them when everything is on the shelves because it's just going to look like every other pharmacy. So, what you want to do is you want to invite them when you're stocking the shelves, when you're putting up the sign, when you have something in action to share. And so I invite you to come to my workshops, go to my website, click on upcoming event or upcoming workshops in particular. And the one great thing about it is no matter which workshop you attend, one, you're going to get my handbook, and two, you're going to get story ideas. I can't help myself. If you tell me something about what you're doing, you're getting a story idea. I'm going to help you get going so that when you leave that workshop, you have an idea of how to generate new stories in your business, your organization. There are so many. I can't even talk about the industries that particularly impact the community. We are not seeing enough stories that can be shared. You just have to know how to share it and package it in a way that news can actually cover it on that day or in one day. Because news, they have to cover it in that one day. Generally speaking, there are investigative stories. That's a whole nother ballgame. So that's Newsworthy Stories with Jacqueline Jimenez today. How easy it is to get news coverage. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day.